Welcome everyone to the University of Buffalo virtual open house. We're glad that you're able to join us today. Um, I'm Adrian. I'm one of the chief residents, and I'm with the rest of the seniors having a grill out. And the first person that's going to speak is our esteemed chairman, David Sherris, and he'll have his introduction as well. Dr. Sherris restarted our residency in 2007 when he came from Mayo Clinic. He is a facial plastic surgeon who has a nice combined academic and cosmetic practice nearby. He operates out of our community hospital at Sisters, and we get to learn about cosmetic and functional rhinoplasty, facelifts, brow lifts, lefts, sometimes some Mohs stuff. So Dr. Sherris, take it away.
Well, thank you, all of you for joining us. I think Dr. Miller already talked about a lot of things. I missed some of them. we are a very clinically oriented department, so the clinical experience you'll get here is broad in every aspect of otolaryngology. So we like our graduates, I just looked at the last 20 graduates. Their average major case load was 2,400, anywhere from 1,800 to 3,300, depending on the resident. So you get a very broad aspect of head and neck cancer, level 1 trauma center, pediatric otolaryngology, a nice experience in a community hospital. I do facial plastics as well as you get a lot of free flaps. About half of our graduates go on to fellowships and the other half go right into practice. So of the last 20, 5 went into facial plastic surgery, 3 went into pediatric otolaryngology, 1 went into head and neck cancer fellowship, 1 is a laryngology fellow, and 1 rhinology fellow. So very broad spectrum, and really that's our aim. And as Dr. Miller said, we're looking for people who get along with a group. We have a great group of residents. We always have. We've been very lucky. 2 a year. They're friendly. We have an interesting difference than a lot of places, which is kind of a hybrid of both volunteer faculty and full-time academic faculty. But there's really, in my mind, no difference. We all work together. We work with the residents. Our aim is to give you the best experience you can have. Buffalo is a great city. It's very easy to live in. It's inexpensive, great restaurants, arts, sports teams, if we can ever go back. The Bills are going to win the Super Bowl, and we aren't going to get to go. But other than that, it's pretty darn good. I'm going to leave it to, we have a variety of our faculty members, certainly not all of them. We have a lot of faculty and a lot of our residents to talk to you. And certainly I or anyone else will answer questions throughout this. It's a different time. It's a little strange being on Zoom for this. It's a little strange that we can't meet you in person, but we certainly are going to try our best to make this work as it is now. So thank you, and I'll pass it on to whoever's next.
Sure. Dr. Miller is our program director who trained at New York Eye and Ear and has been our program director for quite a number of years. And she's very committed to clinical otology and kind of leads us in our path towards graduation. So I'll have her start.
And I just want to welcome everybody. Whoops. I hope to see you, many of you, at interview sessions. And I want to thank Dr. Carr and the residents for arranging this open house. I've been asked to answer some of your pressing questions. We do have a diversity statement on the website. And we do support the university diversity campaign, which is going to be ramped up. And we're told to put it on our slides now. So that's next. Talking about the exams that we've taken, we use the OTEs to help determine each resident's progress, helps them focus on areas of weakness, and finds the necessary study aids. The last 6 years, we've had 100% board passage from the first part of the boards, and all of our graduates have passed their boards. Key indicators. The PGY 5s have now finished all of their minimums. We do suggest that they be 1/3 over, and the new way that it is reported, they have exceeded the minimum by 2.5 times for most of their key indicators. And that's good because this is only the second month of their 5th year. PGY 4s are almost complete except for otology, and that should ramp up soon. The ones, expectations for being assistant surgeon usually are completed by the end of their PGY 1 year. And the 2s this year is progressing a little bit slower because of COVID. And we break the year up. First half of the year, they do their outside rotations, and the second half, they do the ENT. So that's was a little bit of a problem this year. And the 3s have completed most of their minimums except for peds, and most of them in peds and sinuses, which is great. Application process. I review almost all of the applications. Dr. Cipolla and I review all of them. We do not apply any filters. As far as IMGs, we do not have ability to take most. We can sometimes take a J1, but it has to go through a lot of process at the GME in order to take an IMG. We do read the applications though. We will be participating in preference signaling, which you will hear about from your DIOs from the medical school. There are 2 out there. Please be careful. One is run by the OPDO. The other is an outside company. And we will be looking at that carefully. So what are we looking for in an applicant? I had a great story today. One of our first applicants from our 4th year, we asked him to do a lecture series or even just to do a lecture and a grand rounds. And I got this wonderful email back that he felt honored to be asked, which was great. He's going to do one Zoom, and then he's actually flying in here from Florida when he can to do a whole otology lab. So that's what we look for. We look for people that are going to get along. We know that you all aren't going to live here forever, but we want this to be a home while you're here and to think of it as a home after you leave. So our primary focus is a good fit. If you have a grandmother who lives here, if you like winter sports, or if you like blue cheese with your chicken wings, consider adding a line to your personal statement, because that's one of the things that I carefully look at. On the flip side, contacting me. My email is available, but we do participate in ARIS. Please don't send me any information just as an email. I will nicely send you a reply, but unless you have an update to your application, such as a new publication.
All right, so the next one is Linnea, who is our other chief resident, who is going to be talking about just a few of our residents. Do you want me to just advance the slides for you?
No, I can do it.
All right, okay, sure.
Hello, everyone. I'm Linnea. Like you said, one of the chief residents. Adrian and I are 2 halves of a whole that are running this machine into the future. It's great. So I'm going to introduce you to our residents and then give you a little bit of a slice of life of our different hospital sites, just to let you know what you're in for in Buffalo. Here are our lovely PGY1s, Jyoti and Maddie. They're settling in. Jyoti's here from Utah and Maddie's here from, well, born and raised in New York, in Albany. We're very happy to have both of them. They're wonderful and they're getting into the swing of things. We got our, oh, what have you done, Adrian? There we go. We have our PGY2s, Matt and Jason, who are really in the thick of it. PGY2 year, as you know from most programs, that's the year when you're on call and you're putting your time in. So they're brave and they're carrying the weight of us on their back, and they're wonderful. We love them both very much. Matt's born and raised in Buffalo, and Jason's coming to us, went to med school in Boston. Jason has a new puppy. That's a new life event. And oh, Matt has a new baby. That's important. He has his 2-year-old, and his new baby was born at the end of June. Joyce and Julian, I believe. Yeah. So we get to see them sometimes. It's wonderful. And Ellen will talk more a little bit about where we all live and that kind of thing too. Our lovely PGY3s, Phil Persino, has his adorable child, Charlie, who, like Dr. Sherris was joking earlier, is the biggest, like, 14-month-old I've ever seen. He's all the brawn and the brains of his mother and father. Mohammed is our social media expert. He is up to date and keeps a finger on the pulse of the culture, lets us know what's going on in the world. Our PGY4s, Ellen and Sam, they're helping us become more healthy. They fed me plants today. I missed the meat. It's okay, but they're both wonderful people. They're standing right behind me, so I can say whatever I want about them. Sam is a beautiful, perfect angel child named Everly, who we also love to hang out with. And Ellen has a wonderful cat that she's going to someday give to me. Next up, our 5s, me and Adrian. I don't know. What would you
It's
say?
coming up.
It's coming up. We'll talk more about us later, but we are also wonderful. So our faculty members, if you look at our website, it looks like we only have 5 faculty members, but that is not true. We just have 5 of our university-based attending surgeons and then our 25 full-time volunteer faculty who we work with. We have a very wonderful relationship with our faculty members here. They like us, they trust us. We hang out with them outside of work sometimes. They give us a lot of autonomy, and it really helps us to learn quite a bit. All of our subspecialties are represented. And we'll get into a little bit more later, but we've got the full range of the breadth and depth of facial plastics. A couple different sites where we get our head and neck experience, laryngology, skull base, pediatrics, general neurotology. We got it all here. ECMC, our county medical center. You will spend some beautiful days and nights here. It's a wonderful place. They just redid the whole facade and the outside. We have a brand new emergency department, which has been a fun adjustment. It's been wonderful. But we have a lot of head and neck and plastics here. We probably do anywhere from, I'd say 1 to 3 flaps a week. We're getting up there. We're getting a lot of numbers. We don't really have any fellows. So as the people that have become more head and neck and heavy recon interested have started coming through the program, they're getting to get a lot of hands-on time with the flaps. If you're like me and you're more interested in ears, you can kind of do the fun parts and let the other people do the flap parts. So there's a little bit of a choose your own adventure going on here. There's no separate plastics recon team so much, so we get to participate in both the ablative and the recon, which has been a great experience. You've got your full range of head and neck glossectomies, so free flaps, parotids, thyroids, everything going on there. The county is also where we get our trauma experience, especially coming through as a 2. You get a good exposure to both soft tissue trauma and more of the bony work. So we'll do our mid-face fractures, orbital fractures, mandible fractures, all that stuff, and you get to work those plastics muscles in your brain, repairing some of the soft tissue stuff that comes in, the chainsaw injuries, everybody going out on their ATVs. It's a good time, good learning. We get a broad range of general ENT there, and then we do some sleep surgery. They'll do the hypoglossal nerve stimulators here at ECMC. So it's a place where we get a lot of great experience. Some of the pictures we have here, again, our big, beautiful facade of ECMC. In the bottom right corner is one of our recently graduated chiefs, Adam, doing some work in the microsurgical lab. And then the other one is our late night pizza party. So you gotta keep it real. We hang out with the staff there. We just have a wonderful time. It's a great place. They are our family. Sisters of Charity Hospital are more community-based hospitals where we work with Dr. Sherris. We get, like Adrian was saying, a great exposure to a broad range of facial plastics, everything from rhinoplasty, both cosmetic and functional, facelifts, upper blephs, Mohs reconstruction. What am I missing? A little bit of gender affirmation surgery going on sometimes. We got our good laryngology exposure here, some more general ENT, head and neck. Sisters is wonderful. It's a little bit more of a little more laid back rotation. You get a taste of what life as a community ENT person might be. So pictured, I have Phil down here in the bottom right in our temporal bone lab, looking super stellar. And then Phil in the other picture is when he and I snuck up onto the roof, because you got to have fun sometimes. If a door is open, you have to go through it. That's what we learned in Buffalo. Our children's hospital, our wonderful freestanding children's hospital, it's pretty much brand new, only about 2 years old. As a second year, I was in the old hospital and was part of the transition to the new one. God, it's gorgeous. Got a lot of beautiful shiny windows, natural sunlight. When I was there with Muhammad, when he was a 2 and I was a 4, we hung out on the balcony outside, got some sun in the nice months of July. We got, of course, a wide range of pediatric ENT, everything from your nice solid bread and butter tonsils and ear tubes, a little bit of airway reconstruction sometimes, and we get a good amount of our ears there, the eyes. It's been a great experience. In the bottom right-hand picture is some of our residents, and I think one of our medical students, all chilling out in the lounge. Muhammad posing beautifully in our wonderful call room. We have a nice call room there with double bunk beds, and then Adrian and I, one of the few times we get to scrub together.
That's true.
You don't get to scrub a lot with your co-resident, but again, take the opportunity when you have it. That's us scrubbed at Children's, having a fun time doing a thyroglossal duct cyst, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then our ancillary sites. So the 3 main sites I set aside as separate because those are the places we cover on call, and I'll get into call a little bit later, and the rotations a little bit later. But hospitals where we also rotate: Buffalo General Hospital, the Gates Vascular Institute, and the Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Care Center, where we'll get more of our otology, neurotology, skull base, and a little bit more head and neck at Roswell. And those are pretty much all hospitals we go to. As far as our rotations go, as a PGY1, of course, you get your 6 months on ENT with us. Our plastics rotation is a mix with our more body plastics, but also with us. So we're able to sneak in a little bit of extra time hanging out with us on ENT. And then you'll do trauma surgery or maxillofacial surgery sometime a month in the trauma ICU, and then anesthesia, where you kind of get those practice intubating, get those good numbers going. It's PGY2, you split your time between children's ECMC and sisters. Just getting that good experience. As a PGY3, you get your 3 months of protected research time. You just do still take call, but are excused from clinical duties, so you have the day to push that research through. As a 3 and 4, you spend time at Roswell Park as a separate rotation. As a 3, it's wonderful because you're kind of out of our primary call pool. It feels very nice and slightly more relaxing. And then as a 4th year, you also get your 3 to 4 months of dedicated your time rotating with our otologist, Dr. Diaz-Ordaz. And as a 5, you split your time ruling the roost from ECMC and sisters. Wonderful. As far as our call goes, everyone always wants to know how that is. It starts off difficult and becomes much less difficult. So as a 2nd year, as a 2 and a 3, you're on Q4 call. As a 2nd year, we split facial trauma call with our OMFS colleagues. So as a 2, you're on Q4 trauma call at the county hospital, as well as covering call at Sisters and Children's. And as a 3, you're on our non-trauma call days, while also covering call at Sisters and Children's. As a 4, you cover when people are on vacation pretty much. Otherwise, as a 4 and as a 5, you take backup call. Our 2s and 3s become very talented and very autonomous pretty quickly. So honestly, as a backup call person, they'll call you for advice most of the time. You can come in and help them now and then, but mostly they don't need you. And that's nice as a 4 and 5. And as a 2, you really get that experience of decision making and taking care of things yourself. Again, talking with the attendings and getting to do things with the attendings. Sometimes as a 2, I felt like, it was my chance to show people out and actually operate and take things. So it was good. It's a lot of growth that happens as a PGY2. As far as post-call days go, you get them. I mean, we'll give them to you. Well, we have like kind of a rough rule where if you slept like 4 hours and you're feeling pretty okay, or if there's something you really want to learn you don't want to miss, you're free to stay. But most of the time, we'll work the coverage around to make sure that people can get home and get some rest and stay safe and well. As far as our didactics go, we have Monday night review that's run by the chief residents. We do an hour and a half or so of some topics. I was doing audiograms because, again, ears, I love them. And Adrian did some nice facial plastic stuff last week. We don't just do what we're interested in, though. We are helping people get ready for boards and going over cases and things like that. We also have grand rounds on Thursday mornings where, there's my 10 minutes, where our faculty will talk to us. And then we'll have a little bit of an hour review afterwards that our PGY4s run. We have Journal Club Quarterly. The top right corner pictured is us having Journal Club at Dr. Nagy's house, one of our attendings, who has the best collection of pinball machines you will ever see. We read some stuff too. We read some journals. It was a journal club. It was great. We have our esteemed faculty member, Dr. Eugene Kern, eminent rhinologist who gives us, as a PGY 1 through 3, gives us talks on Thursday mornings for the first couple months out of the year, while the seniors do more of a board review focus course. We go to Temporal Bone Labs, and we have our biennial Rhino Fest, where every other year we have a big conference here where we get to a lot of great people giving us lectures on rhinology and plastic surgery, and there's some good hands-on experience using cadaver heads. That's a picture in the bottom right corner. We work very hard, as you can see from Ellen's cat and Jason's puppy studying. We all work together. We pull together. We are a team here in Buffalo. Here's our, our group has our goodbye party for our seniors from this past year. Just, I don't know. We look amazing. We have fun. That is my little spiel.
All right, so I'm going to talk about our research opportunities here. Again, I'm Adrian, one of the other chief residents. So as a PGY1, you get involved in a patient safety and quality improvement project. Like Linnea said, we have a 3-month dedicated research block where you're free from clinical duties during the day. And the major areas of focus that people do research in are pediatric otolaryngology, a lot of head and neck surgery, facial plastic and reconstructive surgery, and then we have a attending who is trained in rhinology basic science research if you're interested in that stuff as well. Here are just a few publications that we've had from our department in the last year. Clearly a lot of plastics, and then a few case reports that are published in the Ear, Nose, and Throat Journal. If you have ideas, we are willing to support it. You've got faculty in pretty much every subspecialty who's willing to support your ideas. If you're interested in learning about statistical research, there's stuff through the Clinical and Translational Science Institute for learning how to do statistics on your own. We have a resident research day that's typically in the spring, right before graduation. This time it's going to be in the fall just because of the pandemic, and we're going to flex our research muscles at that point. You're not limited to our department, though. There are people that go out through our community. So Ellen and I are trying to do a project with our Roswell attendings that we rotate with. I spent some time doing some basic science stuff with the oral biology department and learned I don't like basic science research. We have a very strong audiology department through the Communicative Disorders and Sciences department, which is associated with the undergrad university. And then there's stuff you could do at the Jacobs Institute, which helps with like biomedical engineering, if that's kind of your flavor of research. You know, if you've got a project and you've got it submitted to a national meeting, we'll send you over there. We usually have funding to get you to present your posters, your oral presentations, and then hopefully you get a manuscript out of it. So at least in the past year, we've gone to ARS, the Academy, COSM. I went to the facial plastics meeting in the fall, and then we had one of the residents go to Rhino World. So in the top right corner, there's me presenting one of my orals on meta-analysis. You see Adam, one of our chief residents who just graduated last year, showing his poster at COSM. And then the bottom right corner is after Ellen gave a talk on quality improvement in airway management and tracheostomy care after her oral presentation at the Academy. So plenty of research if you're looking for that. And so far in 2020, we've, as a department, have 28 publications. There's still a ton more. People are submitting, at least to my knowledge, at least a couple, and it's not limited to just this. So hopefully we've had a few more coming on the way. You can see Ellen's publication from her oral presentation coming out soon. And then we also get some awards as well. Dr. Carr has gotten Best in Show as well as the Best Poster in Sleep Medicine at our past Academy meeting. So again, plenty of research and plenty of stuff to do here if that's what you're into. Great for getting you into fellowship or whatever you need to succeed. So I will pass it on to Ellen, who I believe is next. Oh no, Dr. Sapola, who is our assistant program director, who's gonna just talk about our alumni. So Dr. Sapola, just let me know when you want me to advance your slides. He's coming from us from Ohio State where he did residency.
Hi guys, thanks for joining. So hopefully everyone can hear me. If you can't, let me know. I think this is really great, and I thank Dr. Carr and all the other attendings and residents for joining, and I thank all of you for attending, because if we put ourselves in your shoes in this awkward year we're in, it's tough for you to really have an idea about programs. And the things we know that you're looking to learn is what's life like living at a residency program, and hopefully we've touched on that. And I really hope that you feel comfortable asking the residents any questions and getting all that input from them, because that's really important. And then of course, you want to know, if you go to a program, are you going to get the training you want? And are you going to be able to have the career that you want? And both of those things are extremely important to us. And so hopefully we can show you how proud we are of our program and show you that we really have the results that residents are looking for. So I'm going to just kind of go over another summary of what our graduating residents have done. So you've already understood a little bit what resident life is like. You'll get more of that. You understand what our rotations are like. And then Dr. Sherris had touched on it, but I'll go on what some of our residents have done afterwards. So you can go to the next slide there, dude. So the funny thing is that I think we always consider ourselves really heavily clinical. Tons of cases for the residents, tons of surgery. But the interesting thing is that from an academic side, we also find out that we have a lot of great successes there. And Adrian just went over all the research. I mean, the research projects we've had are going up exponentially. Presentations at meetings, whether it's oral, posters, publications, it really probably over the last, I'd say, 5 to 7 years has really taken off. And as Dr. Sherris mentioned, whenever folks would ask me, well, what do residents do afterwards? It's always been kind of a 50-50 split going into private practice versus fellowship. But when we look back at the last 5 years, it's probably swayed a little bit more towards going into a fellowship. So over the last 5 years, you can see the data here. We've had 7 residents enter fellowship, 3 enter private practice. All the residents who wanted to go into a fellowship matched in their field of choice. And so if we look at the yearly breakdown, you can kind of see what fellowships our residents have gone into. Just the recent graduating class, pediatrics at UPMC, great program, laryngology at Harvard, year prior pediatrics in Texas. And then a few years prior to that, it was pretty heavy in facial plastics. But you can see as of the recent years, we're really hitting on all subspecialties, which really goes to show how well-rounded the program is. You can go on to the next one there, Adrian. So then also, oh, you cleaned up this slide. I like it. So then, so also again, going at how well-rounded we are, Linnea, who you already met, matched into a fellowship in Florida, and she'll be doing otology. Linnea, I think you're the first otology?
She's the first otologist.
Perfect, which is really credit to Linnea and how well she's done, and also really how well our training has become. And then Adrian, I just confirmed with him just today that he had matched, and he's going off to Texas for a facial plastics fellowship. So you can see that we're really proud of our program because we have a great group of residents. They all are very happy, seem very happy, get along really well, work really well, and they really get the training that they were looking for. So hopefully that's kind of a goal of today, right? To allow you guys to have an opportunity to learn that about us and ask any questions you want. So thank you very much, and don't hesitate to ask any questions.
All right, so I think Ellen is next now. There it is. All right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ellen. I'm one of the PGY4 residents, and I get to have the fun talks. I get to talk about Buffalo. I think maybe I was chosen for this because I actually went to medical school here, and Adrian did too. But, so I've been here for like 9 years now. I'm not from the area. I'm from about 3 hours away in upstate New York, but I really have learned to love Buffalo. Up and down here. So living in Buffalo, I'll try to talk a little bit about what it's like, but we're going to do some breakout rooms later, and feel free to ask questions about the city and what it's like. We do live on the lake here, so I think people forget that, and we have an awesome lakefront. Lots to do on the water here. I'm a little bit biased. Not everybody in our program loves to go running, but I love running. Me and Sam went on a 7-mile trail run this morning, post-call, after being in the OR with Dr. Carr for a tonsil bleed. So Sam kept up, though. So
That's right.
it was because I was tired that he could keep up.
Oh, there you go. Good job, Sam.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you can see a picture on the water there again. That's like, I think it's a night run because the sun's setting. Sun sets here on the water and it's beautiful. You can see rowing going on the lake, the river there. And then here's just a couple on the right. You can see a picture also down on the waterfront. We have beautiful gardens, awesome running trails. The big group picture in the middle is a Buffalo Run Club I'm a part of, and they do, prior to COVID, we did weekly runs on Thursday nights. They start and end at a bar, and then afterwards there's like a social hour where you get to meet a lot of people. It's really fun I love the residents. We hang out all the time, but it's also a really good opportunity. There's lots of opportunities to meet people outside of medicine too. So Canal Side is kind of the name for the area down on the water. There's lots to do down there. On Thursday nights, there's concerts for $5. They used to be free, now they're $5. And hundreds of people go down there. It's a super fun time. It's really easy to get down there. The traffic isn't terrible in Buffalo, so it's super doable for a Thursday night if you have off. On the left there, you can see that there's the river as well, where there's a lot of boating opportunities. There's a little floating tiki bar that Dr. Sherris and some of our residents might have been on before. And then there's the parks. We have an awesome park system here in Buffalo. I think it's the Olmsted Parks, and the design of the parks is absolutely beautiful. There's greenways throughout the entire city. Again, great areas to run, but there's also other stuff to do, like get engaged in the park, which I got engaged in the park this year. So that was exciting. Great places to study. That's a picture of me in a hammock doing very serious studying on a nice sunny day. There's also Shakespeare in the park here. So it's every night in the summertime, Tuesday through Saturdays, or Tuesday through Sundays, and it's free, and you can just go sit on the lawn in the park, and the play starts at like 7 or 7:30. People picnic. It's a really nice free thing to do in the city. And the fall here is beautiful. Lots of color change, awesome outdoor things to do. And then the winter is not so bad here, believe it or not. We actually have a lot of fun here in the winter. The last couple winters haven't been terrible. The winters are long. I'm not going to lie to anybody. But the thing about Buffalo is the people here are very resilient, and the community here really embraces the winter, and it makes it really fun. Everybody's, trying to be outdoors in the winter. There's, you can see a skating rink that's outside downtown. There's outdoor skating. There's curling downtown that you can do. The picture below that is a couple residents from actual different programs, some of our friends that are in emergency medicine and pediatrics. We tried to do a winter run club to make sure we were still getting outside. And then on the left there's some good lake time where we made a ice bar out of ice from the lake. So lots to do here in the winter. And just like I said, it's mostly the people here love Buffalo, and so it makes it an enjoyable place to be.
Can you explain that ice bar? Who made an ice bar on the lake?
So that was me and one of my friends. This is actually near Albany, New York. And we took a chainsaw and we cut squares of ice out of the lake. And then we pulled it out and made a bar. This was done when it was -10 degrees out. It was the coldest day of the year.
Oh, impressive.
It was very fun, very fun. We had a bonfire, we kept nice and warm. So also ski weekend. We do a lot of resident activities together here, which makes the time super fun. Every time we have a resident activity, except for tonight because we only invited the chief residents, sorry juniors. We all like to go. We all go out of our way to hang out together. It's always a good time. And we talk about work, but we really know each other very well. We know each other's kids, we know each other's significant others, wives, husbands, whoever. And so it makes our time where you're not just talking about work, you're hanging out with people from work, but you're talking about life and things that matter in the future. And we enjoy each other's company. So ski weekend is something we do. Dr. Muscarella, one of our attendings, who does mainly he's our laryngologist. He has a ski cabin down about an hour, 45 minutes away. And MLK weekend every year, he invites the entire residency program down. We spend the night at his cabin. He organizes an educational lecture on Sunday night. So we have a guest speaker come to the cabin. We have a nice talk. We all eat dinner together. And then the residents crash at his house. And the next morning we all go skiing together. And so you can see a picture of us all skiing down here on the lower right, some of our attendings, some of the residents. It's a really good time. Also, other skiing in the area. There's a couple mountains close by, but there's also lots of activities up in northern New York in the Adirondack, kind of Vermont area. It's about a 4-hour drive away. So if you do like to do a lot of skiing, hiking, it's super accessible for weekends. So Sabres games are great because our attendings have season tickets, and when they don't want the tickets, we get them for free. So it's always really fun when you get a text like 30 minutes before the game, like, hey, does anybody want tickets? And so down you can see a picture of Mohammed and Phil and Linnea at a Sabres game. Maybe Dr. Miller's tickets? Dr. Miller's tickets. Sometimes we get Dr. Miller's, sometimes Dr. Nagy's.
Residents always love free stuff.
We love free stuff. We love free stuff.
Nice.
So, and when you don't pay for it, if you get there late or leave early, it doesn't matter. Obviously, we have a little bit of a Bills Mafia here. I personally go to like 2 games a year. I'm not a football fan at all. I just enjoy being there and tailgating and hanging out with people who are obsessed with the Bills. Buffalo is a unique city because I think there's a lot of spirit here, being that they have the Bills and the Sabres and just a lot of community strength behind the teams. It's about a 30-minute drive to the stadium. It's really easy to get in and out of. Even if you can't go to the game on Sunday afternoons when there's a game, I'll go for a jog during a game, and the city streets are silent because everybody is inside watching the games. They have TVs on their front porches, watching on their front porches. The city is a really fun place to be on a Sunday, especially when we win. It happens all the time. Shea's Theater, I guess Adrian and Linnea are probably more the theater people here, but it's a great place to go. We have a lot of Broadway shows that come. I've personally gone to Rent and Lion King. Linnea loves Hamilton. She's been with her sister, right? Her sister came. And tickets are really affordable, and it's a really nice time. We also have a comedy club here. My fiance is super into comedy, so we've gone a couple times. Jim Gaffigan was here in January, and we went, and it was absolutely amazing. So there's a lot of things to do if you're not an outdoors person. Plenty to do indoors. Niagara Falls is obviously right here. The Canadian side is the preferable side because you can see the entire front of the falls. Picture on the lower left is from the Canadian side, and then the picture on the upper right is Linnea and her friend Mike, who are on the American side of the falls. So it's always fun when your family comes to visit. A few other things, just because I love the outdoors, is that the Adirondacks are really close. It's a really great park, mountain range in northern New York. It's about a 4 to 5 hour drive, depending on where you want to go. It's been really great during COVID because it's still within the state and you can drive there and have an awesome vacation. There's amazing skiing. There's beautiful hiking. It's pretty remarkable to see all the beauty that's in upstate New York. And then obviously the beauty of the chicken wing. We did invent the chicken wing here. There's a lot of iconic Buffalo foods, and it is a passion of Buffalo, the food. We've got great chicken wings. Ice cream on the lower right is from Lake Effect, which Dr. Nagy and Linnea are very obsessed with. Daily.
Yeah, daily.
Understandably so. So wonderful food here. We like going out to eat with our attendings or with the other residents. There's always something to do. So we'll talk a little bit about housing. I think it's something that's definitely worth thinking about. It's not, I don't think it'll ever make or break your decision on what residency you go to, but it's really good, especially if you have a significant other or you're worried about finances, to just get an idea of what your life will be like, your home life. So this here is a picture of where all the residents live in Buffalo. The purple is the residents who own. So you can see it's mostly this, can they see my cursor?
Yeah, they can.
So this is this kind of the suburb area outside of Buffalo. You can see that 3 of our residents live there. We are here right now in Sam's backyard. Yeah. And then Jothi just bought a townhouse down here in the city. So she'll be the only one owning in the city. The green is the residents who rent. Oh, I don't have you up on Hurdle. So mostly the ones who rent, we live in the city, and then the red is the hospitals that we work at. So you can see that if you do live down in the city, you literally live within 5 to 10 minutes of the hospitals. If it takes me more than 10 minutes to get to the hospital in my car, I'm very angry. I actually bike to the children's hospital. It takes me 8 minutes from my door to the door of the emergency room. So it's quicker for me to bike than to drive and park my car. And then the residents who live in the suburbs, how long does it take you?
To the 2 out there, ECMC Sisters, is like 12 minutes, 12, 15.
Yeah.
And Children's is like 18.
So like under 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So you can definitely be on call and live in the suburbs. If you have kids, the suburbs are going to be the area where the public school system is really good, actually. So a lot of our residents that have families live in the suburbs. So just going through kind of neighborhoods, the fun thing about Buffalo is there's different flavors of neighborhood throughout the city. I guess that's with every city, but I really appreciate it because they're all very close. But yet the city doesn't feel like nobody's on top of each other here. So Elmwood Village is where I live. It's, there's a lot of young professionals and young families that live there. A lot to do, a lot of shops, restaurants, and on the lower left you can kind of see what a typical house in the Elmwood Village would look like. There are a lot of apartments, whole houses that are an upper apartment and a lower apartment. Allentown is another neighborhood. It's a little bit more funky. It's where I'm moving next year. It's kind of the more up and coming area. It can be a little cheaper to live there versus Elmwood, just because it's kind of, like I said, more up and coming. Lots to do there as well. And then Hurdle is where Linnea just moved. Hurdle's great. I lived there in med school. This is where Lake Effect ice cream is, which is why Linnea moved there. She now lives within 0.4 miles of Lake Effect. And this is really great. I would say more, young families. It's still within the city, so it's Buffalo City Schools still. But I would say it's also kind of an up and coming area with a lot of families there. I can't really speak for the suburbs. I don't know if you want to say anything about the suburbs.
Suburbs are great. Nice and quiet, private. You get your own yard. We're literally like 2 minutes from all the shopping grocery stores you'd ever want to go to. Anytime I'd have a project for the house, I can go to Lowe's 4 or 5 times during that project because it's 5 minutes down the road. So the suburbs are great. There's a drive-in movie theater we go to a bunch. Oh, so great. Suburbs are where it's at.
So it's a little bit of everything for everybody. So I'll just give a personal example. So this is my house. I live in the Elmwood Village. Me and my fiance live together. He's an orthopedic resident. So we kind of have similar lifestyles. We live in the lower. It's a pretty big apartment. It's 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. We have laundry. We have a parking spot out back. We have a front porch that we invite people over to, and twice as many people as we invite show up. And there's never enough seating for anybody, but we love having people over. We have basement storage, and it's very affordable. Our rent is $1,300 a month, and that's pretty, I would say, average for the Elmwood Village area. Adrian also lives in the Elmwood Village. He lives in a 1-bedroom apartment right on kind of the main strip. And how much do you pay?
Less than 1,100.
Less than 1,100. So very affordable city. Like I said, I bike to work. This is my fiance on call at the Children's Hospital, about to bike to work. So very close to everything. And if anybody has any questions, we're free to answer.
Rooms.
I think we're going to do some breakout rooms in a minute where we'll kind of divide anyone attending among the residents so we can answer questions that you might have.